Welcome. Today we're going to explore the future of automotive marketing. The landscape is rapidly evolving, and innovative solutions are really needed to stay kind of ahead of the curve. To that end, I've been really curious about the transformative potential of causal AI and the synergy with data giants like S&P Global Mobility. Before we dive in, let's get acquainted. So, Sean, can you tell me a little bit more about where S&P Mobility is these days and what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, so I'm Sean Ryan. I'm the director of client services for S&P Global Mobility underneath the Polk Automotive Solutions section of our company. So, as part of S&P Global Mobility, we have and had been working with automotive manufacturers, media-based companies to help them on their marketing strategies from anywhere from audience targeting to measuring outcomes utilizing sales data.
Very cool. I know I've worked with the different iterations of your company for a lot of years, and it's always kind of been the data that you guys have for the automotive industry has kind of always been our North Star. And that combination with Data Poem sounds like a really powerful synergy between the two of you. So, Barath, tell us a little bit about Data Poem and yourself.
So, myself, being a practitioner of media and media research for the past 20 plus years, kind of frustrated with a paradigm of ROI measurement and how the lack of actionability of ROI leads to predominantly utilizing or creating media plans or strategies based on only efficiency metrics or reach metrics and not effectiveness metrics like the media ROI. So that's where the genesis of Data Poem kind of came about, wherein how can we make the ROI paradigm actionable and comprehensive? Because, like in auto, we all know that there is a branding campaign, there is a performance campaign, all of them are siloed, and there is no one comprehensive way of measuring ROI in totality. So the inspiration came from saying that, hey, what if we have to make the entire media strategy and approach not just based on efficiency based metrics, but also effectiveness based metrics so that we can create actionable ongoing plans which are optimized not only on efficiencies of reach and cost but also on effectiveness. That's how Data Poem came about. And for us to do this, it was not enough to kind of utilize any existing ways of understanding ROI. And that's where we had to bring in a system, a learning system which is interconnected, which measures the cross channel synergies, which can be dynamic, which can be comprehensive, which can adapt to the different industries. And that the solution that we landed is nothing but a deep learning based intelligent learning system, which is helping us solve this problem. And a small tidbit about our learning system is in terms of how our learning system learns it on numbers, that's exactly the same way deep learning powers chat GPTs and Geminis of the world on language and text models. So we needed that level of more sophisticated learning engine to solve the problem that we've been people like us faced for almost 40, 50 years, to get to a solution which can solve for actionable effectiveness measurement on an ongoing basis. That's about us.
So, Sean, can you tell us a little bit more about how the automotive landscape is changing today? I think is going to be start really being a bigger role is like if I'm going to pick a Chevy versus a Ford, because I have that plethora of nameplates to pick from. It's going to be really interesting to see how brand plays a role in that. And then that measurement, for at least for me, when I was on the strategy side, that measurement is going to fundamentally change. Is this the way we look at the marketplace?
Well, from our perspective, obviously sales is king and outcomes are king. And so looking at sales outcomes is going to be important, but not looking at sales outcomes that are 30 days, 60 days, 90 days post a marketing campaign. There's so many challenges that marketers have in looking at KPIs that can take a duration of time is only going to slow their efforts to get the right message in front of the right consumers. And so having the ability to react quickly in the marketplace, and so finding measurement solutions that offer the ability to look at outcomes and the ability to modify marketing strategies in a quick and efficient way to better promote and serve impressions, I think is going to be the winning strategy.
Oh, for sure. I think that the ability, and this is where I've been a big fan of Data Poem since I got introduced to them, is their agility to work monthly and their granularity, especially when you combine it with your data. Because I think there's outcomes that are great, but then for me as a marketer, sometimes there's outcomes that are more valuable than other outcomes. And I think this is where I love SP Global Mobility, is I can understand if I'm getting a conquest household with this information or this strategy versus the loyalty strategy where I may not have to spend as much money because I already have a GM household or a Ford household, and that's who I'm getting. And it really helps me adjust my spending strategy to get those outcomes that I think are more valuable.
Yeah. And where you're placing your impressions, the ways that you could potentially save from a marketing standpoint by being more efficient with your budgets, those are all key players and key points that marketers are going to care about as we go into 2024 and 25 and beyond, especially with the complexities in the market. We talk about electrification and sort of the move away from ICE vehicles. That is happening. And I think we've heard some of the pullback by some of the manufacturers in terms of some of their plans for electrification into this decade. I think what S&P Global Mobility is forecasting by 2030 is that you're going to have 3 propulsion systems. You're going to have hybrid, EV, and ICE sort of split down 1/3 of each. And so if you think about additionally some of the complexities that marketers will face, it's not just going to be, hey, I have a Chevy Silverado and I want to promote that. It's going to be, hey, I have a Chevy Silverado that is an EV, it's an ICE vehicle, and potentially a hybrid vehicle. And all of a sudden, we've now split our marketing strategy into 3 different components for one nameplate. Oh, by the way, those nameplates have gone from 450 nameplates in the marketplace to 650. And so if you're sitting there at an agency, you're sitting there at a brand, and you're trying to get messaging in front of the right audience, having the right activation strategy, having the right measurement strategy that's going to give you feedback in a quick and an efficient way is going to be very critical moving into the next 12 months, but also for the rest of this decade. And so having the right marketing strategies is going to be key.
We've had some conversations before about causal AI, kind of the 30,000 foot level, Brock. But today I'd really like to dig in and discuss the details for the pressing challenges that are facing the automotive industry these days. Can you tell us about how Data Poem is really upping the game in market mix modeling and MTA?
Yeah. So first of all, let's understand the challenges that are faced by automotive marketers in terms of measurement and actioning the ROIs. The first and the foremost challenge the auto teams face or auto marketing teams face is in terms of how do I measure the unified effect of brand campaigns on performance marketing campaigns or demand gen campaigns, right? That's a very important challenge because we all know that there are synergistic effects between these two, and it's becoming difficult, more and more difficult, given the loss of intelligence on cookies in some form, as well as how do I connect the impact of brand campaigns on demand gen. So one of the biggest challenge is how do I have a unified measurement system which can unify brand campaign planning as well as demand gen stroke performance marketing campaigns. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is in terms of understanding the long-term effect of these different campaigns that are happening, because like all of us know that the consideration, any of this purchase process, consideration starts with top 2 3 brands and then it gets narrowed down. So it's very important to understand the long-term effect being generated on an ongoing basis by these campaigns. That's the second important thing. Third important thing is to understand the effect of all of this on a very granular manner, not at an aggregate manner. What I mean by granularity is, are we getting it by campaign type? Are we getting it at product line level or sub brand level? Are we getting it by media level? Are we getting it by channel level, which is social, display, video, OTT, and other stuff? Are we getting it by platform level, which is, are we getting it by social, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, Snap, etc.? Are we getting it by the audiences that we're targeting within these platforms, which is in terms of Facebook, if it's Facebook, whether it's Facebook display, Facebook video, and within those Facebook videos, what is the kind of audiences that are utilized and what is the ROI of the same? And the last and the most important thing is, how can we get these insights in a timely fashion, which means that can we give the marketing teams the ROI of campaigns almost without lag. So let's say there's a campaign that's happening on a in a month. How can we give them immediately so that they can actually modify or use that intelligence to optimize their ongoing campaigns? So timeliness of availability or velocity of insights is the other challenge that marketing teams face. All of this, to like we said, how do we address all of this is by creating a unified agile model which can help you understand the causation of these different factors on the ROIs. So, to just contrast with or compare with what is happening right now on MMM and MTA, there are two different systems. MMM primarily does at a very aggregate level. It has limitations in terms of granularity, it has limitations in terms of number of variables it can take in, it is limitations in terms of number of times it can be updated because it's a static model. And on the other side, on MTA side, which are primarily done for demand gen and digital marketing side, the loss of cookie information because of iOS deprecation, as well as eventually whenever the cookie goes off, is not comprehensive enough. And then the two systems are not talking to each other, even though from a consumer point of view, the brand campaign that is happening on social video is interacting with the search campaign that is happening on demand gen. Unless we have a complete synergistic effect learned, you really don't have a true ROI system. So the causal AI system at the top level, at the most important level, unifies both MMM plus MTA into one unified model and not two separate models, right? That's the big change that we're bringing in. And then we bring in what is called the granularity of the insights, right? So we provide 6 layer down granularity in terms of the brand, the campaign type, in terms of, like I said, channel, platform, audience, events, sponsorships, the different kinds of sponsorships in terms of NFL, different any other associations that we would have got. All of this had to be measured in a comprehensive manner. Then we bring in what is called the long term effect that is happening because of all these campaigns, so that you can continuously understand how it is improving the brand equity too. And last but not the least is in terms of the velocity. So we actually, because it's an agile model, the system can help you understand the ROIs on a monthly basis so that you can utilize all of this on an ongoing manner, right? So this is on the measurement side. What we bring additionally to the measurement side is a sophisticated optimization system, which is what we call as interconnected nonlinear optimization, which helps you to generate forecasting accuracies of more than 90% so that you can make these decisions on an ongoing manner and improve the overall ROI. So that's the different dimensions of how we are kind of taking the present paradigm to the actual actionable
Very cool.
ROI.
Really, when I first started getting to know Data Palm, it was those kind of idea of the truly holistic, audience-based, and agile data that was really intriguing to me as a strategist.
Correct.
These challenges are really complex, but Necessity is the mother of invention. So, Barath, let's explore how Data Poem's advanced marketing measurement tools can help automotive brands really address these challenges. When I say automotive brands, I really mean automotive OEMs because there's not one brand. And I think one of the really interesting that, and I'm sure you'll touch on this, for me, having been over multiple brands, brand interaction is really interesting to me. So, how really can Data Poem help a brand address these challenges and succeed in today's marketplace?
Yeah. So one of the important aspects of our system is that we actually work with data partners like S&P Global, wherein we get the KPI data already pre-built with us on a very granular form, and we also have lot of data sets pre-built with us in terms of TV data, all the mass media data, competitor data, and we can connect with all the APIs of the digital platforms so that all the data, which is most of the times around 100 sources of data in terms of platforms or different kinds of campaigns that brands do, we first of all collect them, collate them, unify them, and harmonize them as one data hub. So that's the first level of step towards solving the complex problems. You need to have a unified data set on both input side as well as output side together with us, and that's where the partnership with S&B Global actually helps us to ensure that we have a most reliable, agile KPI data system, and we also build an agile input system so that we have all of it in one single place so that we can utilize all of this data on an ongoing basis. So that's the first step that we do. The second thing that helps us to solve this problem is to have this intelligent learning system which can understand not only the short term effects but also the long term effects in a holistic manner. That's where we make a big difference. It's not two systems, two models, it's one single comprehensive model coming from the same data source, which will be utilized by the same AI engine to generate the intelligence about what is the impact of different kinds of campaigns on the KPIs. And like all of us would know, automotive's complexity is not sales. It is lead their intermediate KPIs that needs to be built in. So for example, all of us know that consumers would see campaigns and they would either book their test drives or they call it demand gen or leads, and then eventually they convert into sales. So unless the system understands this intermediate KPI process and measure it accordingly, the ROIs are not comprehensive. So the campaigns are not only generating media demand or inquiries or leads, it is also generating the indirect effect on the overall sales. So the system should be able to measure the direct impact on inquiries and also the collective impact on the sales. So the intelligence system can generate, because the data is unified, the intelligence hub can understand both the intermediate KPIs as well as the eventual final KPIs. And also, the system is trying to understand what is the impact of all of this on long term brand metrics like equity, consideration, preference, so that the system is not only tracking the short term effect, but is also tracking the long term effect so that the overall comprehensive ROI is with the brands. And then while we get this unified intelligent system, we also need to ensure that for campaign teams to action it, they need to get the data in the most granular form, whether it is social, whether it is TV, whether it is print. How can we generate a very granular form of ROI for all these different platforms and within those platforms audiences? And on TV it is not only day part but also at a platform level, so that the actioning teams, whether it's a media agency or an in-house team which is measuring, which is generating demand gen, they can all act upon it from one single source of intelligence and can optimize together on an ongoing basis. And there's no point doing this unless we actually measure it on a monthly basis so that the campaign ROI results are seen next month and actually used it in the ongoing optimization as well as future planning of the next month or next quarter, so that the overall ROI is maintained. And that brings control to the marketing teams, the business teams, the analytics teams, and the agency teams collectively make a difference in terms of overall effectiveness of the dollar.
So, follow up question, Rob. So, do I have to be a full blown data scientist to really utilize the agility of what Data Poem's causal AI can deliver?
That's a good thing. So, when we envisioned this system, we always saw the user as a media planner in the agency or the media strategist within the client side. So you don't need to be a data scientist, you don't need to be an AI guy to actually utilize intelligence. It's simply like how we don't need to have a AI experience or a data science experience to utilize ChatGPT or Gemini. The system is actually a plug and play system to actually utilize for planning, scenario planning, optimization on an ongoing basis. The outcome to the user is almost a planning interface which can give you insights of what happened in the past, but you can utilize those intelligent insights to actually see, forecast, and optimize on an ongoing basis. So I want to also address the other thing that we were talking about, how are we changing the game, which is on the optimization part, right? If you look at the existing systems, most of the systems are linear optimization, which means that they are not taking into consideration the cross channel synergies or seasonality or the comprehensive effect to make the optimization so that you get a very robust accuracy. So, if you look at any system that is presently being used, the forecasting accuracies are around 70 to 80%. And that's not any decision maker wants from an ROI system to make it actionable, right? So our non-linear interconnected system actually utilizes cross-channel synergy learning along with seasonality so that you actually have the optimization in totality. So you might ask, how is it different from, hey, we also have an optimization system using saturation curves? The saturation curves itself is a fundamental flaw in the whole optimization process. The saturation curves actually utilize a very linear methodology wherein it gives you the ROI in the absence of everything else, and which means that it is not taking into consideration the cross channel synergies that are happening between brand campaign and demand gen, between a platform to a platform, channel to channel, like between TV and digital. Those synergies are not taken into consideration. The seasonality is not taken into consideration. So TV's ROI is constant through and through the year. That's not actually how it works. Or the TV's ROI changes depending on what other factors are involved in the campaign, whether TV plus social is present, or TV plus search is present, or TV plus social plus search is present. So the ROIs change. And hence, when you actually use optimization using saturation curves, you actually have lesser forecasting accuracy because it is not giving you the absolute real optimization. So that's the other big dimension that we bring to the table to solve the problem of not only measuring in making it actionable, but actionability has other dimension of accuracy and in optimization, which is what we add to the table.
Yeah. Challenges really are complex, but necessity is the mother of invention. So let's explore a little bit about how S&P Global Mobility enhances those predictions. That Data Poem can get the data from the back end and actually helps us. And from, even for me, as when I was in a strategy and planning role, they have a dashboard tool that I can see, but having those outcomes done. But really, how does S&P Global Mobility really enhance the understanding and how those outcomes can be measured?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advantages that we have in the market is that our data is daily. And so when we're looking at new vehicle sales, we can look at daily outcomes. And when you take our data and you combine that with other third-party measurement companies, you get the robust solutions that they can provide on top of our data that is, one, a census of all activity in the marketplace, but also at a cadence that can deliver real-time results and outcomes for marketers so that they're not waiting 30, 60, 90, 180 days post campaign to derive new marketing strategies to move forward with.
You hit on something there that was always key for me when I was in the marketplace, that your data is truly a census, not a survey. So you're getting everything. You have all the data in granularity. You guys have things at I think almost the VIN level data. So I can even tell you, hey, I'm doing great with red cars in Topeka this week kind of data. So it's always been a big plus for me.
Yeah, we go down pretty far. We don't go to color, but pretty much everything else. So we can look at trim and obviously nameplates and brands and obviously engine types, fuel types. So different ways that you can kind of splice that data up, the advertised price of the vehicle. And so there's different ways that you can look at our data combined with obviously the measurement solutions of different types of measurement companies that can then kind of make the Polk data really shine in terms of the outcomes, and then give the marketers the strategies, the data that they need to help them when it comes to activation.
Yeah, and for me, it's always been great because you also pair that vehicle data with some demographic data. I know it's at a macro level, it's not individuals, but that's always helped when we're trying to build audiences and really understand who we need to target. And what I love about your partnership with Data Poem is that now I can see, did I get outcomes with the people I was targeting?
Exactly. And it's based on sales, which we know there's other KPIs in the marketplace. Obviously, we believe in sales. In the end, all KPIs for the manufacturers will lead to how many cars they sold. Yeah. And that's what they're looking at eventually. And so having measurement metrics roll back up to sales outcomes and then be able to enhance your activation through audiences and different platforms is the winning strategy, in our opinion, to drive results.
Especially in automotive, there are a few other categories, but the shopping process in automotive is not like, oh, look, there's a Diet Coke. I want a Diet Coke. I'm thirsty. I'll have a Diet Coke.
It's not CPG. That's for sure. Yeah.
And I think with Data Poem, combining your data with Data Poem's data and other third parties, where you can see that path to purchase and the activities that are needed. There's a process that goes into that. You're not dropping, and you probably know the average price of a car now. I'm guessing it's probably $35,000, $40,000 now.
Seems high.
That's a significant investment for the average person that you're not going to do that on a whim. So it is really cool that, yes, I'm totally with you. Sales are the end result, the only measure that really matters. But having that pathway is really important. I think that you can see from, I need to do these things, do better. If it's events, TV, I don't know if there's print left anymore out there, but digital and what digital, social, that help people move along that pathway. And then really you can tie all that back to an actual sale. It's so important.
Yeah. I mean, look, the automotive buying process and the automotive funnel, which I think everyone's tried to figure out over the last 30, 40 years, is complex. And it's not getting any less complex. But the duration of the process of the consideration, and people are starting to look, and as they kind of go lower in that funnel, there's obviously different ways that marketers can advertise. And they're going from the branding phase to the awareness phase down to the lower funnel phase. But then having a measurement solution that can help them along the way and derive results for them, again, based off of sales, for us is the key. And I think it gives them the most insights into what their activation is doing and how they can get better at it.
Thank you both for the insights. Today's discussion highlighted the potential to revolutionize automotive marketing by combining cutting-edge tools like Data Poems, causal AI, with industry experts like S&P Global Mobility. I can see where an automotive brand can achieve greater marketing efficiencies and navigate the ever-evolving automotive landscape, leaving their competitors in the dust, pun intended. So, Sean, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think today automotive marketers are making great strides in leveraging technology and data science to develop advanced audience solutions, messaging strategies, and just improved digital communication tools. So I think we've seen a lot of progress there, which is great. These are going to be critical for success because marketers will have to manage more customer types, vehicle types, and different buying motivations. I think we talked about earlier the different types of propulsion systems, the number of nameplates that are coming out to market. Marketing strategies, the uniqueness around marketing strategies, the ability to measure their effectiveness of these campaigns is going to be key to cutting through the increased clutter and noise of an increasingly crowded marketplace. And so having a strategy around measurement and measuring around key KPIs, we think is going to be the winning solution, measuring against sales and outcomes and helping that measurement improve your audience strategies, your activation strategies in a very quick and efficient manner is going to be key to managing the complexities of the automotive marketplace over the next decade.
For sure. Barath, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think this there is a new paradigm that is happening, and like they say, future is already here. It's not distributed evenly, and we believe that we are actually co-creating this paradigm along with progressive brands which are really utilizing this futuristic paradigm to optimize their ROIs and plan in a very effective and agile manner. And I hope and wish that the whole auto industry actually utilize this paradigm and transition into this new connected intelligence paradigm, which can help you to measure and optimize in the most agile manner.